The following episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show was recorded before the SAG-AFTRA strike began. Our guest is in full support of the strike and stands in solidarity with the efforts of fellow SAG-AFTRA actors in their fight for fair wages and protections.
Hi, it's Star from The Goodnight Show on Sprat, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Shine on! Oh, I mean, roll it!
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Since July of 2021, Jake and his friends have interviewed professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and many more. Who will they be chatting with in this week's interview? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Happy here with us. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh, bringing today, as always, our co-host, Chris Bixby, and Matt Bingel with his pal, Mario Monster. How you guys doing?
Doing good, Jake.
Hi. How
Happy
you
to have
doing,
you-
folks?
Happy to have you here, everyone. How are you doing, Jake?
Yes. How you doing, Jakey?
I'm doing great as always. Thank you for asking.
Yes, and
Wonderful. Who do we have?
Yes.
Yes. So today's guest we have today, it's been a bit. We have two guests, everyone. So we finally have another episode of two guests. So two guests we have for today. One, the guest she's an actress and mom blogger. You might know her as Nina on the Night Show. She's also done some voiceover work and some other things which we'll touch base on later, of course. And the other one, she's an actor, writer, and performer. She's best known for performing Star in the Good Night Show, and she also starred in some Broadway shows, which we'll mention as well. Here they are, Michele Lepe and Stacia Newcomb. Happy to hear you both. How are you guys?
Hello, everybody.
Hi. We're psyched to be here.
Yes,
Yes,
happy to have the
of
both
course.
of you on.
Yes. Very excited to be here.
Absolutely. So to kick things off, for those who don't know you both, could you kind of tell our audience a bit about yourselves and what you do?
Sure. Go ahead. Should I go first?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So you know me as Nina from The Goodnight Show. My name is Michele Lepe, and I hosted The Goodnight Show for a bunch of years. I think it was on the air for about 12 years.
Yeah.
I know I started at the end of 2006. Prior to that, I worked as an actress, as a voiceover artist in both Spanish and English because I'm bilingual. In Miami is where I primarily was working as an actress. And then they brought me on board to host The Goodnight Show with Stacia as Star. We did that for a really long time. Towards the end of that run, I was able to create a spin-off show based on my character Nina. It was an animated show called Nina's World.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I executive produced that, and I voiced the character of Mommy, and I wrote a few episodes. So it was fun to play the mom of Nina after being Nina for so long.
Of course.
And
also having become a mom
and
while
becoming
playing
a real
Nina,
mom
right?
in real life. Exactly.
Crazy.
And after that
awesome.
show ended, because of the changes that happened at Sprout and Universal Kids, I just continued on my acting career and my voiceover career and my mom life career. and that about sums it up. I mean, I still do a little bit of everything. You might also be familiar with my YouTube channel. I started a YouTube channel just before the pandemic called Storytime with Michele.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of because once The Goodnight Show went off the air, I wanted a place where I could stay connected with fans and with families that really felt connected to me and to the show. So I started that channel, and I haven't been posting for a while now because life just kind of got really busy, and I was doing that all on my own. And I'm sure you guys know it takes a lot of work to maintain a YouTube channel and to have videos out there and to stay in touch with your audience. So
Yes.
hopefully I'll be able to get back and get that, going again.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Because
I talk a lot.
It does provide
That's okay.
No worries.
something that feels like it might be missing in children's television, which is a nice, calm, soothing friend. Being read to is so lovely. One of my favorite parts, and I know you're asking for an intro, Sorry, I turned the page.
That's okay.
But one of the things that I really loved the most about our show was the Sandy stories because
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
it was just
I love
so
that.
soothing, right? So I for one, always a fan of Michelle's, but I really loved when she was doing the story time with Michele. I think it was really nice to share your love of reading and help families, chillax a bit.
All right, because you both told stories on the Goodnight Show, and now you're doing like your own, kind of version of that.
Yeah. So I'm Stacia. I played Star on the Goodnight Show. Before that, I'll tell you about some fun acting jobs. One of the first acting jobs I had out of high school, I worked in a mansion in Newport, Rhode Island, as both a servant and an aristocrat, and the year was 1891.
I mean, you weren't actually in 1891.
No,
Right.
but it's a living history museum. So everything for us was very much 1891. So it was at the Astor's Beechwood. Yeah, so it was kind of it was very improvised, but also very heavily researched. It was one of my favorite jobs ever. It was just so fun.
So you would just walk around. You were in this character in this year, 1891.
Either Liza Marie, who was my maid, housemaid, or I can't remember the name of my aristocrat.
And
because
people
I really
would come
just
and just visit this.
played a maid.
They would come
we
into
would
the
show
mansion,
them around the mansion. Yeah,
and you
so
would
it was
be
a
in
tour
character.
of the mansion.
Oh, that's so cute.
And then another job that I had after that, I traveled the country with 2 different one-woman shows. Yeah, they were educational. I traveled by myself in a time when you did not have a map on your phone because you had a flip phone. Yeah, it was crazy. I'm old. And then I did the Goodnight Show, and I did the first season with Melanie. And
the original host, yeah.
And then there were some changes, and I was so lucky that they asked me to go with them. They had narrowed it down to 3 women that they really enjoyed, and there was a standout. And I said, if you do not hire her, I'm leaving. I didn't say that because I needed the job, but I would have. I didn't need to, also because they knew they had a gem. So we did that for a long time. Yeah, and during that time, we were both doing our own. Whenever we were still auditioning and doing things aside from the Goodnight Show, because we would only film for a few months at a time.
Yeah, and it would be a year. We would film once.
We would film once, like for a month and a half or so, and then nothing for the rest of the year. So, so that, and then I don't know what have I been doing since. Was that a question? It's been a while. I do a lot of voiceover. Commercial,
cool.
Animation, and just like as an actor, your job is auditioning, so that is you're working if you're auditioning, I guess.
Absolutely. So kind of before getting into the arts, can you both kind of share like what your childhood was kind of like?
Oh, sure.
Well, my dad was in the Air Force, so we moved around a little bit in my childhood. I was born in North Carolina. But when I was still really young, we moved to England. And so I lived in England, in a British town outside of the military base. I didn't live on the military base. So I went to British school, and my friends were all British. And then from there, we moved to Texas. My dad was stationed in Texas. And my mom's from Spain. So I have a lot of family in Spain. We travel a lot there too. And then we moved to Texas, and that's where my parents decided to, settle. And I did high school there and college there and in San Antonio. And that's where I met my husband. And then we moved to Miami. So what was my childhood like? I don't know. Busy, traveling a lot. I always spoke both languages. So that was something I feel super lucky that I had that in my childhood. But pretty happy, active. I played music. I played the flute in band through middle school and high school. And I danced when I was in high school also. In college, I played flute too. And acting was always something that I felt like, ooh, I wonder if one day I could do that. But maybe I can't. So maybe I'll just have it as a hobby. But it was something that always like nibbled at my, heart and was like, no, go try it. Maybe you can do it. And I said, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, I'll find something else to do. And it kind of worked out.
I actually met one of Michelle's childhood friends. Her name is Kelly. And Michele, did you write the pen pal script, or we talked about the pen pal script?
I think we talked about it, and they asked me, and I had said I had a pen pal who was like my best friend from England growing up, and we wrote her into one of the Goodnight Show episodes.
They stayed friends from the time they were what, like 8 or something?
No, we were in preschool.
Wow.
Wow.
And they stayed friends because she left when she was 10. So it's pretty cool. And she's still friends with her now, which is really neat. So I met Kelly, which is nice.
Yeah.
And wasn't there a time when you moved to Texas and you had an accent? And
well, yeah, because I moved from England and had a British accent. And I went to Texas, where everyone has a southern accent.
Yeah.
So my childhood, I had 2 older sisters and a younger brother. My family, I was born in the same place and raised there in Massachusetts, a little town called Hanson, like bop doo bop doo, that Hanson.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, it's just the name of the town.
Nice.
Don't sing too much of it. They have to say right.
Yeah, I know. So I grew up there. I was always one thing I remember always doing was loving cartoons, loving the Muppets and Sesame Street, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's why we're all connected. We have we have hearts for these things.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I never thought, I want to be a puppeteer. I never really thought about as a kid that it could be something I could do. When I was growing up, there really weren't a lot of female puppeteers.
Yeah.
So it was really, I don't know, it was really kind of a dream come true to, I had seen, when I moved to New York when I was 20, and I took a class with John Tartaglia. He's so brilliant. And I was really lucky to study with him. But, it's funny when I feel like when you're in the flow of something, when you really, like when you're aligned with your soul, just magical things happen. So I had seen Avenue Q with John and with Stephanie and with Jen Barnhart, of course. And
oh wow,
what is this?
I know.
Love Jen Barnhart.
Awesome.
Crazy good show. Crazy
And,
good show.
Yes.
Crazy good show. And so it was so good that I just felt like seen, I was like, I get this, and I had studied musical theater. I thought that's what I wanted to do. And when I saw that, I realized, oh my gosh, Stephanie and Jen made me realize that there are women that do this, and I could be one of those women. And it was amazing. And so Johnny just happened to have a class in New York City, and I took it. And then like a couple months, weeks later, I think. And I'd been doing voiceover. I had done Pokemon at that point and was doing other stuff.
Wow.
But I auditioned for Star, and and my original puppet is a little like your Bean back there. And your monster, what's his name?
Bean.
Marty Monster.
Wait.
Yeah,
Oh, Matt's,
so-
yeah, Marty Monster.
Matt, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You already know about Bean.
Yeah, right.
So I had a monster puppet too. Her name was Maui, and
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I auditioned with her as her, and they wanted me to adapt the voice, and they chose a Star as the character. And
Well, yeah, because it's not a show. No.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I see you have Star back there too.
Yes, you do.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. Star right there.
Yep.
Yes.
Look at you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, and what about you, Michelle? How did like Goodnight Show even gone to you? Yeah.
Well, the opportunity for the Goodnight Show really came about as an audition. And it wasn't that I was connected in any way to the network or children's television before that point. I went on the audition, and it was meant to be. It just, they looked everywhere. From what I understand, they looked in New York, they looked in LA, they looked in Miami.
They lived in Philadelphia.
Oh my
And
gosh.
my understanding is that they narrowed it down to maybe 3 people, 2
Yeah.
other than myself.
Wow.
And then they did like a little focus group with children at the Children's Museum in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And they screened
Oh.
our auditions to the kids. And they said that the kids listened to me.
Aw, that's awesome.
That they were engaged and that they were, interested and engaged in the video. And with the other 2 women, not so much. So they were like, okay, we got our Nina.
That's wonderful.
Definitely.
Yeah, I got really lucky.
I think I got really lucky.
Oh yeah.
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 We're both lucky.
It was a great experience.
Because I got, we ended up working together that whole time. And, that show is just the 2 of us. So we depend on each other and we have to support each other. And those shoots were long days.
Yeah.
Over 12 hours. And it's exhausting. And, puppeteering is hard. And that's a very hard puppet. And Michele, that chair looked comfy, but she was sitting in very awkward
It
positions.
wasn't a real couch. It was
Yeah,
made
it's
out of
firm,
wood.
very firm. Yeah.
And
Oh.
we just kind of put the
Put a little
fabric on
padding.
the wood. It was not cushy.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
so we were really lucky. We were very tight with our crew too, because they were wonderful people that we loved, that loved us, and I think we all felt really, really grateful to be there. And we knew we were a part of something magical. We knew we were we were coming into families' homes and helping them say goodnight.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is for Stacia. After the original host Melanie left, Noel McNeil filled in temporarily. Yes, he did. He did. It was for a very short time too. What was it like working with Noel?
What I'm trying to think of one word, and I just said magical. Noel is so generous, and he's a lot like Bear in the Big Blue House. He's just
Yes, amazing show.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yes,
not,
an
like Noah
amazing
does a
Yeah.
lot of
show.
things, writing,
Yeah.
directing. He's not an author, which I have
He
a
has his
copy of
own
his
book,
memoir.
Yeah, he
Hey,
does.
this really fun memoir from Sesame Street to Band, People House and Beyond. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So being a young puppeteer on my first show, it was very exciting, and he was so generous with me because so
Oh.
Star is a very awkward puppet, right?
At first, yeah.
If you remember what he looked like initially.
Yeah.
Initially,
I
Uh-huh.
remember, yeah.
very,
Yeah, me
very
too.
large and very, very, very heavy. So I don't know why. He was filled like almost like a bean bag, but like it was really heavy. So my hand, you do everything you can. So also because he's a star, he doesn't have a neck. And
Yeah.
with puppets, like there's a lot of subtlety in like a nod or a gesture, right?
Or a
And so
turn.
or a turn. Yeah. So his whole body would have to turn. And to like get
hard.
yeah, and to get,
You
you
can't
can't really
like
get a
there's
lot of
conversation
subtlety with
happening.
with something
Mhm.
that does
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And Noel was a huge advocate for me. Noel talked with the network and said, this puppet needs some work done, and I know great puppet builders, and I have suggestions. Also, I was brought in to help write that season that Noel was on, which was very exciting for me as a budding script writer. I remember in the session, there were so few. We knew we wanted to infuse Spanish when we got our next host, and there are very few Spanish words. I remember because I took French and then Spanish and then French again, and it's just this kind of a blur in my head. And so I had said we wanted something something that would connect our links together, and we were talking about some kind of creature, some other kind of element that would be new with Noel. And I said Firefly, and we could name it Luce, as in Lucy. And
Right.
so, we started writing for Lucy, and Noel designed Lucy and worked with a brilliant puppet designer.
Yeah.
And so what was it like working with Noel? It was so many beautiful things. I remember a car ride that we took back to the city, and we were just chatting the whole time. I feel really lucky that he was someone that not only I got to work with and learn from, but
and it was at a good
he's
moment.
kind of
I mean, it was a difficult
to me.
transition moment too.
Yeah, well, there's that too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
have
like,
him
yeah,
with his experience to be there. Yeah, and initially they had thought, well, we'll like use Neil. He'll come in as the gardener, the Goodnight Gardener, and we'll have him on with when we get our new host to like. But they were getting so much feedback about people being confused that it was Bear, or that he sounded too much like Bear.
Right.
And they also put him in like kind of a weird costume. Because he was supposed to be like this like kind of hippie gardener type man, and he ended up just looking a little, I don't know, it was odd, but he's so charismatic and wonderful. It was such a bummer that it didn't do well in the like when people were watching it, because he's so lovely. But
oh yeah, he's
got
so
to work
awesome.
with him, and he was pretty
So
magical.
amazing.
So
Oh yeah, yeah, yes,
Definitely.
absolutely. So I'm kind of curious. Do you both have a favorite The Goodnight Show songs?
oh, I love the cleanup song.
Oh yes,
Oh
yes.
yes.
Song is
Do do
so
do do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only real upbeat.
Well, brush or brush it, but you don't.
Oh yes,
I didn't do that one.
Yeah.
yes. I remember that song a lot.
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I mean, it's classic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when
Yeah.
the words were changed,
We had our
it was
own
very
version.
sweet. Yeah.
It was special. It was
Yeah, it's like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course the theme
Special.
song. So we love
Of course,
that.
the theme.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah, and hey, hooray, and
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
at
And the
the
idea to
Oh.
just change out the 2 and 3 syllable words.
Yeah.
yeah,
Pop
yeah.
that in,
That
is really
started,
smart.
But like, what we should do, like, which syllable we have to do for this episode, or that, yeah, it be different for every episode.
I think we started that in season 3 because before it was always good bananas.
yeah,
good
good
news.
Yeah,
Good. And
yeah.
then after I think a while, we're like, well, let's try changing it out. And that made it a little fun because then you have to listen to see what he's going to say that night.
Yeah,
Right? Sometimes
yeah.
Would it be tied to the theme? I don't remember. Or was it just random?
I
words?
think when we were writing initially, we were like, let's tie it to the theme, but then it was like, it doesn't
We ran out of
necessarily.
ideas.
Yeah, well, because you're stuck with the specific syllables
Right.
for the lip flap, but
yeah.
and also you don't want to give it away.
Yeah. That's true.
So
Yeah, like
Mhm.
some of my favorite segments in the Goodnight Show is like the stretching, the Sandy story, that you mentioned, and Stacia, you're actually the one who kind of create the segment where Star is like talking with the kids.
I did.
Such a gorgeous
Yeah.
segment.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Thank you. That was a long
Yes,
time. I had
of
asked if
course.
I could do that. Can we try it? Can we try it? Can we try it? Because one of my favorite things about Sesame Street was when any of the Sesame Street Muppets or Kermit would talk to kids.
Yeah,
having
yes.
kids on feels you feel really connected and seen, and so it was one of my favorite things I've ever worked on. I feel really lucky, and children, as you know, children respond to puppets, they're just so open, and kids would just really open up to Star because they're the same age-ish, and there were many kids that knew, they knew that this was not an actual being, that there was someone manipulating it, but most of them just
I think
Let
most
it be.
most of the kids just believed.
believed,
Yeah,
Right.
and
Yes.
opened up and had these
Yeah.
beautiful
that's
chats.
part of puppetry. They don't care like who's the person next to it. They just so focus to that character.
Yeah,
it's just
yes,
so
Exactly.
wonderful.
right, Marty
Hey,
Monster, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Nobody cares about him. Everybody just cares about little old me. I
Yeah.
love how you just pushed me out of the way with one hand. I didn't even realize my own strength.
I have a question.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Alright.
That's great.
All of you watched the Goodnight Show when it was actually airing on TV?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
of course,
Uh-huh.
of course.
Yes, we did.
Sprat
Yes,
was
we
like,
did.
I know Chris and Matt will say the same thing, but Sprat was like one of the best like channel we've been knowing for like, oh my gosh, Sprat was
Yeah.
Sprat was
Yep.
my
The Goodnight Show is really the only one that I kind of caught most of the time when it was on, because Sunny Side Up show was when I was in school,
Right.
obviously, and Wiggly Waffle and some of the other ones.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's just proud was an amazing time for
Absolutely.
us, you know, and
Absolutely.
That,
Was-
so.
that people hold the Goodnight Show so near and dear to their hearts, and that had.
Oh
such
yes,
a-
and that's why I have the star plush right there. You
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're so proud. We're so proud and so honored that so many people love the show and still think fondly about the show. Yeah, we're very lucky.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So for a time, there's also a segment on the Goodnight Show called Nina's Little Fables. Can you both kind of talk about doing that?
Yes.
Sure.
So Nina's Little Fables, the stories, the animation was actually already produced.
Yeah.
I think it might have aired in England.
I feel like it was not English.
I have to think
So
about
I
that
don't-
for a minute.
I
I
don't
haven't thought
know.
about that in a
German,
long time.
maybe? I'm not
But it
sure.
did come from another country, and I think that what Sprout did was just like sort of purchase the rights to be able to use
Use
that
the footage.
footage and video.
Yeah.
And then I went in and revoiced it, and we switched around the stories to
Yep.
make sure everything was relevant. It was really sweet. I honestly thought that we should have just created more of those episodes because I
what
thought
was
they were
interesting
so
about
thoughtful.
about that and a lot of the links is that they kind of lived on their own. You know, they could have, like, now we live in a world where you have media that's short snippets, right? Like we're just watching 5-minute clips or whatever.
Mhm.
And it was kind of, I mean, that's what Nina's Fables was. We could
was
have
ahead
just
of its
turned out
time.
a whole bunch of
It was ahead of its time because it was
Yeah.
just little.
But Nina's
short-
Fables did become I mean, it didn't become, but it was replaced with the Sandy story.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was nice. It was nice. I love that it always had, you know, a message tied to a classic
Yeah.
fable and the
Yeah.
animal creatures and the
Because
cutout.
it was
sort of-
shadowy,
yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
it was like
Mhm.
cutouts.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the other thing I forgot to mention, we mentioned the Goodnight Show questions. I remember, I know Chris and I remember this too, where Sprouts Snooze-a-thon, the Cheer in the New Year, where it was like Neat and the Star,
Yeah.
and some of the Sunny Side hosts
The
together, all
Snooze-a-thon,
together,
I remember that.
and the you and me tree. Yeah.
So the snooze
Those are crazy.
is like one of the best things they ever did at the network. And
so brilliant. It's a really brilliant idea.
it's just they got all the characters sleeping.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
it.
the idea
How
was
kind of
that
compilation, just
Yeah.
yeah.
late, you know, on a special holiday. I mean, they started it on Christmas Eve, but I think they also
Right.
aired it, like on New Year's Eve.
On New Year's Eve, yeah.
You know, the night
Yeah.
before a big day, you're a kid, you don't want to go to sleep. So you could, as a parent, you could turn on Sprout
And
and
see that all of your
everyone's
friends are sleeping. All of
Your
your
friends are asleep.
and
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
that was such
It
a
did
great
encourage
idea.
sleep, for sure.
And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
still out there on YouTube, and it has
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
So even on Christmas Eve, we can literally just play the video on YouTube.
I know.
and-
Yeah.
just
Christmas
play-
Eve it would play too. Yeah.
Yeah, Christmas Eve it would.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely.
I didn't know.
Actually,
Yeah.
because they start
It's
sleeping.
funny because you think getting filmed while you're asleep, you think, oh, that's
Oh,
easy.
it's
I
gonna be
just say that.
comfortable.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. You
That's
have to
creepy.
sleep, and you have to keep
It was
yes, a little bit. You have to like hold your body up, and you have to
creepy.
breathe,
Oh.
and you have to like be peaceful.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's kind
And
of
don't
awkward.
smush your face. Don't get too comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, that'd be very, very strange. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really cool concept. I mean, it aired on Christmas. I
Mhm.
didn't know it aired on New Year's Eve too. I know it aired on Christmas Eve. I didn't know New Year's
Yeah.
Eve too. That's pretty cool. Well, I guess it kind of makes sense, you know. Little kids, you don't really want them staying up past midnight just yet.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
maybe a few more years down the line.
Right. Yeah.
So in
You guys remember when we used to have the crafting
Craft segment.
segment? Oh, I guess we
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh
Mhm.
yeah, uh-huh.
That was a fun
Yeah.
segment. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was
Absolutely.
fun.
I love that
Very
segment
fun.
because I'm very
Very
crafty.
crafty.
I love
Very
arts and
artsy.
crafts, cutting things, pasting,
Her
coloring,
daughters
drawing.
do it too. They're very crafty.
So I was always
Ah, wow.
excited
Oh
about that
wow.
segment. And then they took it away.
Those crafts, she actually made all of those. Like some
Wow.
Wow.
That's
all of
awesome.
the beautiful
drawing and writing. She really made all of that.
So we would
That's
film
awesome.
it. They would
Well,
have like
good job on that, Michelle.
Yeah.
Hey.
they would put the thing that it's supposed to look like on the side off camera so you couldn't see.
Yep.
And then they would have the camera trained on my hands, and I would actually do it. And we didn't have time to do it over and over and over again. You
She
just
had to
kind of had
get
to do
it.
it on the
Boom.
first. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always liked that segment. They said that they didn't want kids
to pull out crafts before bed.
to feel like, oh, I want to do an arts and crafts project,
They
and
didn't
it's
want
5
parents
minutes
to
before
have to-
bedtime.
yeah.
So
Which that's
Yeah.
fair.
it makes sense.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Again, it could have been a one-off.
Could have been its own.
But then the network ended up doing crafty things.
That's right,
Carly
Carly.
had the crafty show, which was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely.
Yes, it's right. So, in 2011, Michelle, there was a poll called "You Pick the PJs," where Sprat was voted on a new pajama set. Who would have thought? Wow, it's. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yes. So this was something that was hotly debated and discussed. Apparently, way more than I ever thought it would
remember
be.
that.
So Nina I always wore the same pajamas, the classic hot pink sort of V-neck top with the patterned pajama pants. And I think parents mainly were just a little bit, kind of bored, right? You're
Well,
happy
I
that
think
your
it's
kid's
also
happy, but
like a hygienic thing, getting their kids to
don't
wear
know.
different pajamas. no?
anyhow, so they were like, why is she always wearing the same pajamas? Even though in cartoons, characters rarely ever
Always
change clothes.
Like, does Mickey Mouse have anything other than yellow shoes? And
No,
So
No, I don't think
it was
so.
kind of a
I don't
fun
think so.
thing. And they said, we're going to introduce some new pajamas to make to rotate different colors and different patterns and different styles. And because they got so much mail about people asking, why does Nina always wear the same pajamas? They said, wouldn't it be fun if we did a poll and you could create, because I don't know if you ever saw that there was actually a game that you could play where you would create a pattern and a set of pajamas and you would submit it as your vote.
That's right.
Yeah. And then you could create your own, or I think they had 4 that you could pick from. So there was 5 options, right? And they got something like 700,000 votes. I mean, it was like mind blowing. Nobody ever.
Oh my gosh.
They were gonna. It was ridiculous.
What?
I'm only guessing that some people voted multiple times, but they were like, "What? Why are so many people voting?" Everybody really cared about the pajamas, and so they picked. I think the one that won was the lavender, pretty light.
Yeah.
One was the winner. And then, sure enough, the next season we brought it in, and it was one of the pajamas that I wore. Yeah, that's such a funny story, isn't it?
Yeah, that is really funny. I totally forgot about
Tons
that.
and tons of votes. I remember them.
That's
calling me,
crazy.
We don't know why, but everyone's playing this game, and they're all voting for your pajamas.
know.
What?
They were watching every night. They wanted to see variety.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
So for you both, the Goodnight Show was also spun off into its own animated series we mentioned earlier, Nina's World. How did that come about?
Well, we were looking for ways to create original content at the network because a lot of what you would see on TV was created by someone else, like when we had Sesame Street or
because initially
Barney
Sprout,
or-
remember, was a
Right.
of different
content providers,
yeah.
and creators of children's television. So Sprout as a network was getting so big that they said, we should try and create our own
Our own
original
content.
stuff. And Nina and the Goodnight Show was their number one show. And
Very
it just
popular.
made sense to see what can we do here. And on the Goodnight Show, I always talk about, or Nina always talked about her childhood and all the things that she could do. And she was interested in yoga, can speak Spanish, sign language, all of that. And they said, well, what if we found a way to create a show that shows the audience what Nina was actually like
who she was,
a little girl.
A little
So
bit,
they brought me in and I consulted with them on the character because I pulled a lot of my own childhood
one of the writers came down to Miami.
Oh
too.
yeah, she came to Miami. We did some research. We talked about my childhood, about what was important
and
to
was
me.
even influenced by your current neighbors.
Yeah.
And
So there was a lot going on there. And then they hired a production company in Canada to produce the show. And so we traveled quite often to Canada, to Toronto, to do all of the writing and the production meetings. And then when we actually recorded the voiceover for the show, we did that in Vancouver. And that was awesome.
that is awesome.
Vancouver's a great place. And we had a great experience on that. And I was lucky to be able to write a few of those episodes
And work with Rita Moreno.
Definitely.
Very actress.
Yes, that's awesome.
So for you, Stacia, in the earlier days of Sprout, you voiced the character Bean in Sprout Diner.
Not that Bean.
Yeah, not that.
What was it like doing Sprout Diner?
Your research there. That was so fun. The early days of Sprout was like
Bean's Diner.
yeah, Sprout Diner.
Oh yeah, it was Sprat's Diner. You're right.
The early
That
days
was a
of
funny
Sprout was like a
Yes.
playground.
Yeah.
I felt really lucky because they found me and they gave me so many opportunities to play. I actually sang the initial theme song for the network, which was so fun and is a really great little song. So doing Sprout Diner, you have Brussels, bean, and alfalfa, and it was just neat to. I never actually interacted with any of the
Right.
other people that she called.
Right.
Your voiceover session, and
It was all pre-recorded and yeah.
So what's gonna happen. You have the script, so you know who she's gonna talk to, and you can, all those characters were pretty darn famous, so you can hear their voices in your head as you're so I and it didn't, I don't think it lived very long, Sprout Diner, but it was one of those really cool things that network did about trying to establish a world where all these characters, it really was establishing a world where all the characters are friends in somewhere in the Sprout land, and having this diner that people ordered, healthy shakes or a grilled cheese from makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for you as well, Stacia, what was the? I know you both. I know you also worked on Noodle and Doodle as for performing Noodle in the in the second season, and I know you're
The Chica Show.
or the Chica Show. Yeah. So what's it like doing those shows?
So let's see. So Noodle and Doodle, I did only do the second season. Brilliant puppeteer. She did the first season, and I think they wanted. I'm not sure why. I think they just wanted like a younger sound or something, and they were filming. Also, they were filming in Philly, so I don't know if she wasn't available. I don't know the story as to why. Because what they did was interesting. They had me come in and perform Noodle, but then they didn't change out the voice from the first season. So you'll hear a difference. And what I was trying to do was give them what they wanted in a voice for the new voice, but at the same time honor the voice that was already established, So it's like a kind of tricky.
It's hard.
Tricky. It is.
Yeah.
It's a little like but it was fun. We only filmed for a week. What was really fun about that was it was the first time I had a second. Star never had any anyone doing
Explain
his
what that
hands
means.
before that. A second is, so Noodle's hands were live hands, right? So because she had to, make things with Sean. So I had a second puppeteer, Juju. We lovingly call her Juju, Julia. And so she and I worked together. She was the hands of Noodle, and that was really fun. And I was able to push for Star to have a second, which was also Juju. We worked really well together, and we had a really fun time.
Yeah,
it was. All of those shoots were hectic and hard because you got a really tight budget. You don't have much time.
Gotta work hard.
Gotta work hard. So
Absolutely.
yeah, but it was super fun to play her. I thought she was pretty darn adorable, you know, and it was fun to be a puppet that could be so expressive, you know.
Definitely.
Unlike Star, who is just a little bit stuck, you know.
Yeah.
I love him so much, but you know,
Uh,
it's a
love
little more
Star.
Who doesn't?
Exactly, right.
I did not play any characters on the Chica show, but I did help establish Chica as a character at
Sunny
the
Side Up.
beginning on the Sunny Side Up show. We
Oh
had
wow, nice.
yeah, so
Yeah,
they
Forrest
made
Harding,
the
yeah.
Sunny Side Up show, and they hired producers to both produce the show and or associate producers to produce the show, and also Chica tier. They call it Chica tier. And there was one producer. She was an amazing producer, but wasn't super comfortable with the puppeteering yet. So they were trying to figure that out, and they also were trying to figure out they were trying to find the right hosts. So they were going to have Michele on anyway. And the two initial Chicateers who were producers were brilliant. You have Forrest, who's super outgoing and really, really fun, which you can imagine is very much
Yeah.
Chica's personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
This other woman, Jen, who was very sweet, a little bit shy, very smart, and they were very different energetically. So something that felt really important to me as a character creator and a puppeteer was making sure that Chica stayed consistent. So
Right.
Mhm.
Right, because a lot of people who watch the Chica show, Sunny Side Up show, might not realize that from week to week it was a different puppeteer.
yeah, it was a different
Right.
puppeteer every week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I know Kelly. We previously in show
that's
with
right.
Kelly,
Yes, Kelly.
and I remember she said that it was a different puppeteer like
It's
every
interesting
week or
that
something.
you
Yeah.
really have to have a consistent character so that Chica doesn't seem like crazy one week and super chill the next week.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Instead of
worked
doing
with
the same puppeteer doing the
Yeah.
same weeks and weeks, probably they'd be like, oh,
Uh,
you know.
yeah. And even though it was a brilliant idea because you know her voice is a squeaker, right? So
Mhm.
you don't have to match a voice, but it's important that her soul is the same, or her essence, you know, the idea of who she is stays steady, and that was something that felt really important to me. And I remember saying everything that you squeak means something. You're talking, you're literally saying words. And so that was something that became established as we had the opportunity to help them create the show. And Michele was a host, and also, do you remember Milton from the Let's Go show?
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was also a host in the beginning. And then towards the end of the Sunny Side Up show, Allie, who had played what was the character's name? Banjo.
Banjo, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and Allie, they're a brilliant puppeteer and character. So Allie became a producer on that show as well, which is kind of neat.
And then we had Denisha was there
Yes,
for a little
Denisha.
Yeah,
while.
yeah, yeah.
And
Denisha,
Liz.
yeah.
Liz,
And it was
yeah.
cool because we would come in every once in a while. I think you would come in with or without me as Star.
Yeah.
But for about a year, wasn't it about a year
Well,
that
you
we
know, when
did the first
the
first season of
the first
Sunny Side Up show? It was
the
like
first
6
several
or 8
months of the show being launched. Well, I don't know if it was that long. I don't.
I feel
Maybe
like
you
it was a
came
long
more than
time.
me
Yeah,
in the
because I
beginning-
came with Milton too.
Yeah, in the beginning, it was just the first month or so that I was really in the
Oh, really?
rotation.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like that was
I think it was longer than
maybe, but I do remember the really long stretch that I did of the show was when Denisha was on maternity leave.
Oh, that's right.
So it was like
Oh.
2 or 3
my
months,
gosh.
and I was there for 2 weeks, and then I would go home for a week to Miami, and then I would go back to Philadelphia for 2 weeks, and I would go home for a week
Wow.
because we would
A
prep
lot
the
of
show
traveling.
for a week, and then we
Yeah.
would do the show for a week, and then we had a week off.
Yeah.
It was fun though. I love that live television
Yeah.
energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was
the
nerve-wracking.
Sunny Side Up show was
Yeah.
so
Oh,
fun.
what am I gonna say? What if I say something wrong? What if
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Imagine
Yeah.
as a puppeteer, it's very nerve wracking because
it is. Yes.
Yeah, because
Live.
you're live. You got to make sure that your everything is in place so that you're
Yep.
you as a human, as a puppeteer, are not live, and just the puppet is,
Yes,
So it's but it's such a fun energy, and they always had
it really is.
great
Yes.
people on the
Absolutely.
show, great hosts.
Definitely.
And we actually do a live show on our
Mhm.
YouTube page, so we know what that live thing is like. It's challenging to like get everything set up, but it is so worth it. And how long has our
Mhm.
show been running? 3 years. 3 years we've
Years,
been
yeah.
running now.
Yeah, it was called Bingel
fun.
Live.
It's fun. It's fun and it's very rewarding.
I'm so glad to
Honestly,
hear that. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
wonderful. Now, speaking of live events, you two also got to perform in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Now we've had some interesting stories about speaking of puppeteers and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. We have very interesting stories. For example, the monitor delay. For example, yes.
Yeah.
For those who do not know what the monitor delay, I'll explain it briefly. If you've seen previous episodes of this show, you know what it is. But basically, there's like what a five, somewhere between like a 5 or 7 second delay.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking down at the monitor, compared to like actually outside, let's say Rosita, for example, is looking out the window waving to everybody, and you're like live on let's say the NBC feed, which is the better one, by the way. And there's like a delay between like being live on, like actually being live, and live on television. So that's what the monitor delay is. I want to know, what was your experience like with the Macy's parade?
Wow. Well, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, the experience at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is probably one of the most amazing experiences of my entire life.
Yeah.
How many years were we in the parade? Like
4,
years?
5.
Five, I think.
I think you were in it 5, and I think I was in it 4.
It was absolutely, you can't compare it to anything else.
It's unlike
be
anything.
In the middle of New York City with 3 million plus people, 3 million people line the streets. So talk about live. You've got that energy of the people that are live in the streets.
Right. Yeah.
Everywhere. You're seeing New York City like nobody has ever seen it, because I don't know if you remember our float, but we were like the tree house. So we had the tree
Mhm.
and we had
Yeah.
the tree house at the
So,
top.
in particular, we're seeing New York City.
We are
like
up
no
high.
one's ever seen it before.
Yeah, it's a
We're
beautiful
like 8
float.
stories high.
Oh, yeah.
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 See everything. We probably
We
had the
see
best
into
view of
people's
anybody
apartments.
in the parade ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
It was
unforgettable.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think I really lucked out because it's cold. And so I was, I'm in behind huge thing. Jen Barnhart and I had went to where they make the floats. Did she talk to you about this? It
No,
was
I don't think so, actually.
amazing.
I don't think
Interesting.
she did. She talked about the Macy's parade, but I don't think
Yeah,
she
but I don't
talked
think
about.
she,
I don't
yeah.
Yeah.
think she talked about that in
Had to help
particular.
them figure out where and how to put us, because luckily Sprout at that point had finally become advocates for where do you put a human body that's portraying these characters. And so they brought us in, and we spent like several hours looking at the float. And
Is it Long Island?
is it on
Staten
Jersey?
Island,
It's either
Jersey.
Jersey or it's
Yeah.
Bridge and Tunnel.
Huh.
I don't know. It's somewhere just outside the city that I don't
And they
remember where
build
it is.
all of the
And
floats there.
it's a massive
Yeah.
warehouse, and you get to see all. I can't even explain it to you. It's so incredible. So anyway, they want it to look similar to our set, but bright and colorful and all these things, but also where are you going to put the puppeteers? And so because it's just me, they put me I was essentially inside a box that was a bench that I was able to operate Star from, that Michele would sit on next to him. So I could slide Star over and see out, like around him. And we're just so I could see things, and we're
Mhm.
so high up that you could see crowds and crowds, and those people on the street.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they can
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
but they were there and they were in the energy and they were loving
All
it
morning in freezing
and
cold.
in the freezing cold.
Yeah.
And I'm in this box with a blanket over me, so nice and cozy. And I would remember I would give you like hand warmers
Yeah.
every once in a
I
while.
was freezing.
Sometimes you would come back and like, I mean, you couldn't come in, but you would, get new hand warmers or whatever. Yeah, it was really an experience of a lifetime. I think the second to last time I did it, I used a GoPro to actually film
you
it. I'll
did.
see if I can find
Wow,
it.
that's cool.
Huh.
Rates or something.
Wow.
We were like,
we'd be like,
whoa.
You still remember? Oh, that reminds me. So at the end of the parade, so it starts up in Central Park and then it
does.
winds all the way and it ends at
81st
Macy's.
Street, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It ends in front of Macy's, and we would always do some kind of performance, some kind of number.
Yep.
Right in front of
Uh-huh.
Macy's. And as
Yep.
soon as your number is done, your song is done, whatever your little dance is, you gotta move out of the way.
Oh,
because
you do.
the
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
next
Are you
group
gonna
Yes.
Yes. So, and they tell you ahead of time. They're like, "Look, as soon as you're done, you gotta move.
You gotta
And
hustle. You gotta hustle. So you have to
We're on
grab
the
your
floats.
puppet. You have to, or whatever you have.
So
We also had to climb down
Yes.
a ladder.
I almost got left up there once. So you move out of the way.
They have to fold the float
And they're like,
up.
get off, get
To
off,
get
get
under
off,
the-
everybody,
under
get
the
out of
tunnel.
there.
Yeah.
So we get out, we get our stuff, we move like 2 seconds. You have to get out of there. And then the float takes off and they literally drive it to Staten Island or wherever the
Yeah.
warehouse
Yeah.
is. And it
feel like
left,
New
and
Jersey
it's so funny because you've got this energy of excitement that you were just on in front
But
of the
now you're
Macy's,
just on like 10th
and
Avenue
you're
in
just
the middle
there
of
on the
nowhere.
street and nobody cares who you are, nobody's looking at you. And then the float goes and I see it go and it turns left and I turn around and I'm looking at all my co-workers
All the
and
other
I'm like,
hosts and yep.
where's Ed? Ed was he was doing the Chica, and he never
Mm.
came out of his little box. He didn't know it was time to jump out. He was still
Oh
in the
no.
boat and it was going to Long Island. Oh my God.
Oh
we
my
were
gosh.
laughing so
He was
hard.
fine. He ended up finding us.
No.
It was fine, but
He
it
was
was
like
Oh, good.
banging on the box.
hilarious.
He got out. They stopped and they just dropped him off. I think he had to like take the subway to find us or something.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
Wow.
I just remembered that you both actually did like kind of like live like shows for the Goodnight Show as well.
We did tour a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
tour, yeah.
we went to
Sesame Place.
Sesame Place.
Oh
in
wow.
Ah,
That
That's
was
awesome.
because that's
That was
when I
a
got
really
to meet
fun
Cookie
show.
Monster.
Yes.
And I bought the little Big Bird and Cookie Monster for my kids, and they still have them. They're awesome.
Aw.
Yeah.
ah.
I don't know if you can see them up there.
Wow.
We did I guess
Huh. I s-
Oh,
wow.
Oh, yeah, I see, yeah.
Wow, I see
Yeah,
it. Wow.
Zoo, the famous Columbus Zoo.
Oh,
Columbus,
we
Ohio.
did.
That's-
No, not Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
It was the Bronx Zoo.
we did the Bronx. Oh, maybe
Bronx Zoo. Yeah,
we
yeah,
did
yeah. I know
Columbus.
Noel does those.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Bronx Zoo.
We did the Bronx Zoo.
We did a
Mhm.
show in Tampa,
somewhere in
Sarasota.
Florida. Yeah,
Like a big.
might have been Tampa.
Yeah, I can't remember.
We did a few of
But
those.
yeah, we
I,
did
I
a
wish we had
few
done
live
more
shows.
because it was fun.
It was
to
something
be,
they wanted to incorporate more
know,
of, but we
and
didn't.
do a little performance. We would do a little yoga stretch, or read a little story, and just kind of do a
Mm-hmm.
meet and greet and sign, pictures and do a little autograph and take pictures with kids and families.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's wonderful.
Did you watch the Clangers?
I've heard of it.
Yes. A
I've
little bit,
heard
yeah.
of it,
I
but-
might have. It's been a
Clangers was
while
towards
since I've heard
the
that name,
end
though.
of our run.
Yeah.
It was these little like alien creatures on a planet.
Mm-hmm.
Space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of it,
Mom,
yeah.
Dad, I think
Yeah.
grandma and little kids, and they didn't really talk. They just had like a whistle sound, ooh, like that. They would always sound. And it was narrated by Captain Kirk. Why am I blanking on his name? What's Captain Kirk's name?
Sir Patrick.
No.
Is it not? I don't know.
Oh, anyways.
Is it Patrick?
No, Captain Kirk,
Oh, Captain Kirk is
the Priceline guy. Why can't I think of his name? I'm so embarrassed.
Oh my God, he's amazing. What?
Shatner, William Shatner.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah. Right.
Okay.
Shatner voiced that. Oh,
Oh,
speaking of
Oh
stars,
my
speaking of
gosh.
stars,
Oh my gosh. Just,
oh
hey,
my goodness.
Star.
Well.
Can I have a hug?
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Star has arrived, folks.
Star from Good Show, everyone.
Yes.
Haven't,
Oh.
you haven't aged a bit.
Thank you. I did have a little work done.
Did you? Yeah. I mean, no wrinkles, nothing. No signs of aging. Well preserved. Well done, Star.
Thank you so much. You
Hey, 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 Star. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Star.
Wonderful to meet you.
Yes, it's funny. It's funny. I have a plush just like you, Star.
Look at that. It's like looking in a mirror.
I am handsome.
Oh, that's
Well,
awesome.
That's awesome. So no, you can, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jake, were you going to ask if?
No, the next one.
So Star, what was it like getting to work with Nina on the Goodnight Show for so many years? Yeah.
She can be a little bit. Oh, okay.
No, feel free, Star. Feel free to speak your mind. How was I?
Wonderful. I won't say anything but how wonderful you were.
Aw.
Nina's the best. We would, share stories and sing songs, and I'd brush my teeth because she would make me brush my teeth before bed every night.
Right.
And she would make sure I was asleep. And most of the time, I was asleep.
Yeah.
And
Especially when you got eyelids and you could close your eyes.
That's true.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm glad you're doing well, Star. We've been fan of you and Nina for Good Show for quite some time. So
And you two have met before virtually, right?
Yeah, I've met Jake.
That's
Mhm.
right.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
yes, and you did a birthday queen for me, and thank you very much again for that.
And one for me as well. Thank you for
Yeah.
that, Star. It was really sweet.
You're welcome. That's my pleasure.
Aw. Yes. Yes, we
Oh,
are. Indeed,
that's-
we are.
Yes,
Definitely.
and that's Marty right there.
Marty
Yes, that's
Monster.
me. Yes. Yes.
And-
Hi, Star.
and
You.
Nice to meet you. I'm really excited to meet you.
A beautiful color, orange.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Orange in Spanish.
and that's me.
I believe that's naranja, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I am yellow.
Can you say yellow?
Amarillo.
Yeah,
Rio,
that's right.
yes.
Yes. Ah,
Yeah,
there's Bean. Hi,
that's close.
Bean.
Can you say hi?
Mhm.
Aww.
Star.
Oh.
Is green. And you say green like this.
Verde, that's right. Yes,
Yes.
that's right. That's right.
That's right, Bean.
You did it.
Yep.
Awesome. So a question for you, Michelle. So aside from Goodnight Show, you co-hosted a variety talk show called Off the Roof. What was it like doing that?
Whoa, yeah. Off the Roof. Star, this was before your time.
Yeah.
Star's been around for ages. Can we put Star away for a little while? I think he's
Yeah. That'd be
Yeah,
good.
go right ahead.
Yeah.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead. That's fine.
Yeah. We can have him back out towards the end when we take our picture.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
So Off the Roof. Off the Roof was a music show, a music, art, and culture show that aired on a network called Mundos, MUN2. And it was a network that Telemundo had started, and they were trying to create a network that was geared more towards younger people. And this was before our time. Wow. Yeah. So
There was
and-
a before us.
I know. And so they did a lot of different kinds of shows, but it was really about arts, culture, music geared towards younger people. And the show that I co-hosted was on at night. It's called Off the Roof. And because there was a show called The Roof that aired before us, which was all music. And so it was like whatever was hip and cool in Latin music, like reggaeton was coming up at that time, you know, all of that Spanish language music that was featured on The Roof show. And they had dancers and it was like Fly Girls, you know, that whole thing. And then my show that I co-hosted with a friend of mine, Jamie, came after, and it was more of a like a talk show. We had segments where we would meet an artist, a street artist in LA who, you know, did graffiti murals.
That's cool.
And then we would interview a poet who was, you know, talking about whatever is happening in Latin culture and poetry. You know, everything was, it was really like a mix of so many different things. And we even took live phone calls.
Oh, that's really
Wow.
So we would have like a subject, like ask us anything, or like, what do you think about this? I can't even think of an example right now because it's been so long. I haven't thought about that show in so long. And so they would have a few callers call in and just say, oh, I think, you know, whatever. I like this kind of music and I like this artist and this is why. And we would just like banter for a few minutes and then it was done. And it was every day, Monday through Friday. I think it was on from like 10 to 11 live, 10 to 11 p.m.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that it didn't air long. I think about a year and a half.
Okay.
I did that, a year. Janie had been doing it by herself before, and then they brought me in to be her co-host. I'm
This
still
was
friends with her.
Were you actually in Miami when
Yeah.
you were? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's
this was
so
around.
so fun.
Well, you found the research. What year was that? I think it was like 2003.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
20 years ago. Yeah.
I had just done a show
Crazy.
called
Years
Los
ago.
Teens, and Los Teens was a show that ran on Telemundo, and it was kind of like Beverly Hills 90210. So we were 6 high schoolers, and it was like a soap opera, like a drama show, right? Where every episode something happened in the teenagers' lives, and they were in school, and you know they had relationships and boyfriends, girlfriends, and problems with their parents and things like that. And I did that show in 2003, I think. And the show did, I think it did pretty well. We did like 26 episodes. It was an awesome experience. But they didn't renew it. But the people at Telemundo, I think they saw that they liked me and they were trying to find something else that I could do. And because I was young and my show had really clicked, it had clicked with younger audience.
Yeah.
They said, well, we're launching Mundos and we've got this will be a good fit.
Yeah.
So they kind of found this opportunity for me because I did that show Off the Roof. And then I also did a top 10 countdown show.
Oh, hey.
So it aired once a week.
Yes.
It was top 10 Latin Billboard like type songs
fun.
and top 10 American, you know.
I did not.
Yeah.
Someone
You
did
didn't
their
know that.
research. I did not know that.
Yeah, and I did that for almost a year around the same time. I would go in once a week and we would shoot like that weekend's episode, whatever the top 10 was.
That's so
And
fun.
occasionally they would have me go and interview singers, but I'm not a very good interviewer. You gentlemen are doing a fabulous job.
You are doing an
Thank you so
incredible
much.
job.
I
Thank you.
appreciate
Thanks a
that.
lot.
Thank you.
Good. Listen to you.
I'm not very good at interviewing. And so I always dreaded having to be sent out to interview somebody because I was like, these people have been asked a million questions, probably a million times.
Yeah.
More. How do I come up with a question that they haven't been asked before? I don't know. And then I was like, oh, I have to remember all these questions. And
It's hard.
I always got super nervous when I had to interview people. They didn't send me out too often on those.
Do you get nervous when you do these?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
occasionally.
sometimes,
I
especially.
mean, I was a
Occasionally.
little
Not as
nervous
often.
in the beginning doing this because, like I've said, I grew up with you guys watching you guys on
Sesame
TV.
and all
Yeah,
these,
saying, you
all
know,
these shows. And,
Yeah, we've been having like moments where like we're about to like interview for this person or that, you know. We're
yeah.
like, oh my gosh! But then when we're doing here, it's just it all goes away.
Having fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, we've had that happen plenty of
yes,
times.
absolutely.
Yeah, a good
Yep.
example is when we interviewed Murray from the Wiggles. That was like,
Oh yeah.
that was
Yeah. So I remember the day when we know that we got him, and we were like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, right.
The Woodland's been in part of our lives for a long time.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for that,
and even
to talk with
and
him,
even
it's just an honor.
and even
of course,
some of the
you both.
Sesame puppeteers. Even the Sesame puppeteers, like we've had Carmen Osbar, Rosita, Leslie Carrera Rudolph,
Jennifer Barnhart,
and Barnhart, as you mentioned earlier. Ryan Dillon we had on too. Yes, we did. We had him on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Wow. So how often do you do the podcast? How often do you interview?
It depends. It really depends. It depends on the guest schedule.
Yeah, during the
really.
summer and also during, the strikes and all those things, it's kind of been spotty.
A little bit
like
slow.
It's kind of been a little
bit
slow, but
which is kind of okay for us, honestly, because we've done a lot of episodes the last couple months, and
and there are a lot of
people are on
interviews that
vacation, so
there are a lot of interviews that we've done that's already taped that hasn't even up yet. So we're like we're on it.
So we'll be good for a couple months.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And
since
thanks for having us.
of course.
Yes.
So for you, Michele, you're also the spokesperson for our nation, their Spanish language advertising. What's it like doing that?
That's it's a great job because it was a consistent job that came right on the heels of Sprout ending. So I was used to being consistently employed, when I was with Sprout, we were working, there was always something that needed to get done, even if we weren't taping the show, because I was doing Nina's World and I was doing so many other things. And then when that ended, I had just started doing the AutoNation commercials, and it was wonderful because then again, I was consistently working, and it helped, that transition from.
You also had an opportunity to bring your mom on, right?
So really they support breast cancer research. AutoNation makes a lot of their color is pink, because they support Breast Cancer Research Foundation. And so we did a series of commercials that were promoting that and talking about that. And the spokesperson who does the commercials in English, Monica Lacey, her mom had breast cancer. My mom had breast cancer. So we did these commercials where we brought in our moms, and kind of talked about the importance of the research that the foundation does. And it was kind of a special moment for me to do something with my mom on TV, like in my world. She kind of came in, was on set, they did her hair and her makeup, and and got to
It's really nice that you had that you both had that experience, and that your moms got to bond with each other, and
they became friends. And Monica Lacey, you should look her up. She's a lovely actress and she's got a great career, that she's had since she was a teenager. Wow. Yeah, she was working in Hollywood.
Nice.
So to anyone watching or listening, what would you like to say to us? Have been supported you both throughout your careers.
Wow. Thank you. Yes. Sprout, that whole experience at Sprout connected us in such a special way to so many people that it's quite remarkable. The people that have watched, including the three of you and everybody who's watching this now, we've created a bond that you just don't get with any other TV show or network or anything. I mean, it's really, really rare. So I've always felt so lucky and honored to have had and still have a place in so many people's hearts. I get messages almost every single day from fans on Facebook or Instagram saying, "You were my childhood. I remember watching you. It was so special." And I just can't believe, and I'm in awe that it was so special that it's still sticking with so many people. And I'm blown away. I'm blown away because it's a good feeling. Whenever someone talks about the Good Night Show, it's warm special and it's loving and it's safe and it's comforting. And we're associated with that with so many people. It's just what an honor. I wouldn't have changed it for anything. I never knew my career was going to go into children's television. I'm so grateful it did. It was just meant to be and will always be a part of my life. And so grateful.
I mean, I couldn't agree more with all of those sentiments. I, as Star, I'm not sure how he would answer that, but for me, most people don't associate me with the, with the star of the Goodnight Show. And so you're the real star. We all know it. So people don't find me as much to ask me questions or say, tell me about it. So it's always been a little like oddly over my capacity to understand how important it was to people. And then, actually, Jake, I don't know if I thanked you for what joining you and your friends did for me that day. I had and it was just so nice to be among old friends, and to share and commune with you. And and I think that's a lot of what Sprout did was it just like we all
on this together.
We cared. I think we cared about each other, and we continue to, it's really important, not just in children's television, but you have kids getting that baseline as preschoolers and as they get older, to learn empathy and understanding of other people's experience in the world. And to be a part of that is really special. And I just was completely unaware. I mean, it always meant something to me, and the only time that I really got that was doing the Star Talks to Kids, and especially as Star. Well, how amazing. But other than that, I don't get a lot of engagement talking to people about it. So for me, what I have this idea of what it felt like and what it meant to me, but I don't really hear from people what it meant to them. And that was really incredible to hear, because that's what we strive for, is to just connect.
Definitely.
Make people feel seen and appreciated and loved. And especially when they're that little, because there are times as a kid, there's times as an adult, of course, but certainly as a kid where you feel lonely, and I think it's like kind of cool that we were part of something that made children feel like they had somewhere to go, that they had friends to be with.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So before we ask our last question, if people would like to connect with you, where can people find you?
Oh, that's a great question.
Well, for me, it's going to be, I have the YouTube channel, Storytime with Michele. And then on Facebook and on Instagram, it's just Michele Lepe.
Nice. What about you, Stacia?
I am I am on Instagram. I'm not super active as me, but I've been doing a lot of work for my production company, which is called Sound and the Furry. And furry, sound being voiceover and furry being puppets.
That's right.
So
that's awesome.
Sound and the Furry is the name of my production company. You can find that on Instagram, and I'm on Instagram as Stay. So it's SY SH exclamation SH period AH.
That makes
exclamation
no sense at all. I don't know what you just said.
Stay.
links to them will be in the description. So
yes,
and to the people who wants to check out Michele's YouTube series, so with time Michele, you can go on her channel.
Link will be in the description for that too. So this last question we're about ask, which Chris is about to ask, actually. We asked this to every guest on our show. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so of course this podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of, or in your own words, how would you define the word nostalgia?
Nostalgia to me is something that brings up a fond feeling. So it's like a memory of something in your past that you almost wish that you could relive, like a moment or an experience. So, sometimes something can happen, in your everyday life, but it'll just trigger that memory or that feeling from the past, and you just kind of want to relive it. I don't know if that's a real definition, but that's what nostalgia means to me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Stacia?
I think similarly, it's like that you can go back in your brain bits and explore, something that made you a moment, or a book, or a movie or TV show, whatever it is. Generally for me, it evolves around like stories and character, but it's being in a place that is warm and nurturing and like exciting and happy, and nostalgia, just the word itself kind of makes me happy, and
Same here.
without
Same here.
necessarily defining it. It's like,
It's like a
it
moment
feels
that you
good.
want to
It feels
relive.
good.
That's how
Yeah,
I
a
feel.
moment
Like,
you wanna
I wish I could
relive.
go back and do that all over again because it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you just want to do the Good Night Show again or something.
Right.
100%.
I mean, if I could step back in time, I would definitely step back to a day on that set. It was,
Yeah.
even
Aw.
though we were exhausted and worked so hard, I would step back
Hands
there
down.
in a heartbeat.
The best. The
Yeah,
best
we
show,
had
the best experience.
Such great,
The
such
best
a great
crew.
crew. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
We were very, very lucky. Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great word to end
Yes,
on.
great words. Great words.
Well, Michele and Stacia and Star, of course,
And
thank you so
Star.
much for taking the time to do
Yes.
this. This was a
Yes,
blast.
Yes, thank you.
And to the people who wants to check out more the future work, probably might be go up already, but
Probably, yeah.
but I know Michele.
Check the description down below.
Just check the
Yeah.
description, yeah.
You'll see their
Yeah,
social
yeah,
medias so you can
social
keep up on the
medias.
projects they're working on.
Yes,
As well as our new
Yes.
project, which is
yeah, social medias and
very fun.
I know you also done some voiceover work too, Michele. So if you want to check it out, you can go website and see what
That's
she's
right.
also done as well. And
keep in touch, Michele and
Yes.
Stacia. I'll let you know when this
Yes,
goes up.
definitely keep in
yeah,
touch.
yeah, and thank you both, Nina and Star, and Michele and Stacia for what
Yeah.
you guys
That's okay.
been
I always answer to Nina.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
it's okay.
yeah for what you both been done for so many
Being a
years,
part of
for
our lives, yeah.
lives. And Sprat has been part of our lives for so long. So
Yes,
I
well-
know,
So many
I know we're gonna
years.
keep on talking about. So and can I wait for what you
Yes,
both gonna
well,
do in the future down the line? And can I wait
keep in
for
touch.
something to do?
I'll message you.
Yes,
I'll
keep
try
in
and message you
touch.
both when this goes up.
Yes,
Okay.
of course.
And we're honored. Thank you.
Yeah,
Aw.
absolutely.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. And it's goodbye from us as well, everyone. We absolutely
Yes,
enjoyed
indeed.
our time with Michele Lepe and Stacia Newcomb, and getting to talk to Nina and Star.
And Star.
Nice.
Ah, that was so
Yes.
sweet.
So
Star's
awesome.
in very good shape, I should add.
Yeah, Star's in really good
Yes.
shape. I am pleasantly
Yes.
surprised that Star's in really good shape after all these years.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
there's something that, like, I don't know, probably to do some cleaning or something, or
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Probably.
Like refurbishment, yeah.
But
Definitely,
I can tell
Yeah.
Stacia about how
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, what do we say, Jake? Take us home.
keep nostalgia alive. Thank you so much for enjoying this amazing episode, and can I wait for what's more to come? Great, more new episodes coming away. Keep your eye out for that, folks. Until then,
Yes.
see you next time. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show interview. Be sure to follow Jake and the crew on social media and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.